Hey everyone, it's Joseph here with another video. Today I am currently just sitting out here on my balcony, just thinking about creating a couple of pieces of video content, and I thought, why not come up with some kind of a topic to discuss for YouTube as well, since, I haven't really been frequently updating and recording my journey as much as I used to. The actual running of the business and life has kind of taken priority overall, and I want to make sure that I'm still recording in some form and getting into some kind of a flow when it comes to recording content. But I also don't really want to waste people's time and just fluff on about things that maybe they don't really care about. But one of the things that I'm pondering at the moment is, it's been the start of the year at the time that I'm recording this. It's just the beginning of February, and traditionally what I've seen over the last 4 years prior to this year of the business is that in January it's a little bit quiet in my industry of videography, video production. And from people that I've spoken to over the years in the same industry or in similar industries, they tend to see the same kind of a pattern. But one thing that I have done that has helped to continue to, see some level of growth through this period is actively thinking back in November and December, even as early as October, preparing and doing enough business development or BDM work that will help lead to potential work in January and February. Now, what I've noticed as well is that a lot of businesses don't really kick into gear. They don't really get back into the swing of things till even mid to late January. So often it hasn't been a matter of starting off the year immediately with a project. Sometimes it takes a company a week to warm up, and then a week to look at the proposal, and a week to consider starting. And all of a sudden it's February and March and we're still starting a project that we discussed in December. So because of the kind of work that I do, I've had to think about two different approaches to remedy this. And one of them is to obviously start doing more business development work earlier in the last quarter of the year, around October and November, so that people are thinking about work to start in the new year. And then also coming up with services that people can, easily start, that don't take that much time to convince and to sell them, so that we have some measure of cash flow in the months of the year where potentially some of our bigger work hasn't started happening yet. So in my case, what that's looked like is leaning into, at the moment, a push into short form video content, which I truly believe is super important, but working out my own packages or offers. And it's actually quite an easy sell in some ways if it's the right audience, because everyone wants to do social media videos, but no one knows what to do, how to do it. It's a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of ideas. So I've just kind of positioned ourselves to slot into that niche right now. But I also at the same time really believe that works, because I do it myself on social media and it's led to results for me in my business. So just thinking about how to start my year better next year, I think what I'm going to do is actively, again, remembering that this part of the year is typically a bit slower. I'm going to actively be doing more business development work in the later part of the year, October and November, remembering to build relationships and have coffee meetings that hopefully will result in projects that start in January to kick off the year. Another thing for me to explore further is the option to look at more retainer work and seeing what potentially that could look like. And on the side, the wedding side of my business has continued to grow, and there has been some level of inquiry into some of the parts of the year that don't necessarily have a lot of commercial work. So I'm kind of looking at the balance of how do I maintain both our commercial part of the business as well as the weddings, because there's some complementary reasoning to have both a commercial side and the wedding side operating together. And cash flow is actually genuinely one of those reasons. So another big lesson for me in the last couple of years has been that really cash is king. Cash flow is the most important thing when it comes to finance. It doesn't matter how many good months I've had, doesn't matter how many wins we've had throughout a year. If we get to the parts of the year where we need cash and we don't have it, it's a struggle. So thankfully this year has been better overall than previous years, and it's a matter of actually remembering that that's been the case throughout the whole business journey so far. But also just, again, a reminder for myself that, hey, I got to make sure that my cash flow continues to be there, because that's the only way really that I can continue to pay bills and to keep a staff. So, I think on that note, it's been another great lesson for me that in my hiring process and building the team, that not everyone has been put on a full-time contract immediately. It's allowed me to be able to scale back some expenses and some overhead when we don't have as much work, and it hasn't meant that I've had to commit to several full-time contracts, and therefore everyone's happy in a way, because we've all agreed on the amount of work that we're able to do, and then when things ramp up, I'll adjust as needed. But yeah, I had actually no idea where this video was headed when I began recording it, and now the sun's also decided to pop up from behind a cloud. But all in all, things are happening. A lot of milestones have been taking place. I guess there's been a lot of really cool opportunities, even in being able to speak at the Hillsong Summerfest. That was a huge opportunity for me, and getting to start sharing my story for the first time with people who I feel are where I was when I first started on this particular business journey, and watching and seeing the people who are hungry, and I remember what it was like to be that hungry to start something and to venture into entrepreneurship. And so I was just glad to be able to share some value, hopefully, and that video is also up on my YouTube channel now too. So yeah, this is just balcony thoughts with Joe, and I didn't have a real plan for today, but I would love to hear from any of the people who are watching these videos if there's anything in particular that you would like me to speak about, any topics that maybe you resonate with and you'd like me to share from my own experience. We'd be really happy to share some of that as well. Otherwise, wherever you are in the world, I hope that you have a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you, guys and girls, on the next video.